Well, it says we're live. I'll believe it when I see it. Anyway, Ian will be back momentarily.
Oh, that was quick.
It just took you longer than normal. Here,
That was quick.
do your thing.
What does normal have to do with Ian?
That's right. If you'd like to keep the air conditioner running, please. It was 109 when I got here just now.
111 yesterday.
109, guys. 109. Good Lord, a whole bunch of people on here.
Yeah.
If you like coffee, and quite coincidentally, our coffee adventure anthology went to #1 again. Yay! We hit #1 again. So let's keep the trend going. Remembering that we have a coffee anthology published with these guys. Also, if you like coffee, talk to them, but be sure you let them know you heard about it here, so they'll continue to send us the holy Java bean of life.
Yes.
I have not had enough coffee today, so
What is this term, enough coffee?
right.
Yeah.
If you like smartass t-shirts, go here, tinyurl.com, Among the Leaves tees. Smartass t-shirts coming out the wazoo.
I've got to start with one today.
Go right ahead.
Everybody talks about tornadoes here in the U.S. And everybody sees the pictures of water spouts off the coast and go, oh, aren't those cute?
No, those are
Cute.
tornadoes.
They are tornadoes basically made up of water. And since Larry's on here and has been in the same part of the world I have,
Oh, yes.
there was a little boat, 150 some odd feet long, called a Bayesian,
What, 56 meters? Holy
Yes.
crap.
that was struck off Asotresa, Sicily, early Monday morning, destroyed and sank.
Did they get any survivors?
15 out of the 22 so far.
15 out of 22, one is dead.
Yeah, it happens.
That was one water spout.
Well, remembering that the part of the Malta series, I talk about Richard I've had a brain fart. Maturin Romagas was one of the leading commanders of the Knights of Malta, and he first comes to our notice when a waterspout hit the harbor where Valletta is now, and crushed the entire Knights of Malta's fleet. And they had a large fleet.
Yeah.
And one waterspout, which a tornado, wrecked the entire Hospitaller fleet.
Yes, that's the one with multimillionaire on it, Padre. Joel, it happens. We actually used to go hunt them up when we were flying because
Holy crap, hillbillies here.
you could fly through the top of them and watch your airplane. Well, we were down low, so we had salt spray on windshields and then engines. And it's kind of hard to see to land the airplane
Calls me nuts.
when we were at 200 feet. It's kind of hard to land the airplane when you can't see out the windshield because of the sun and the sand. Salt.
They call storm chasers in Kansas crazy. Yet here we have the Navy doing it as a routine thing.
We fly into hurricanes for a living.
Yeah.
Not me, some other guys and girls.
Yeah, you think that storm chasers in Kansas are nuts. Storm chasers in the middle of nowhere in the ocean got to be even nuttier. I mean, at least if a tornado picks you up in Kansas, it might sit you down in Oz.
Oz would be preferable to what we got right now.
Actually, Todd, the problem with the P3s is you can
They're in the air.
ingest enough water to put out a motor. We did that. We did that in 1975. There was a Fram destroyer that went missing, quote unquote, in the middle of a comm break in the Pacific, in the vicinity of a typhoon they were running from. So we got launched to go see if we could find it. And
I'm
we
sorry.
found the Typhoon,
I never get calls, so I didn't expect that.
and we find the eye,
Well,
and there's a dot in the middle of the eye. And the whole crew kind of went, well, I guess we got to go. So everybody strapped in, pulled their belts as tight as we could pull them, secured the airplane, and penetrated the Typhoon. And it was interesting. I had bruises. I didn't know I could get bruises in places. So we get into the eye, and sure enough, here's this Fram 3 destroyer chugging along with no upper works.
Huh.
Radars are gone, masts are gone.
Goodness.
Top of the ship is clean. And we buzz it, come back around. I was maybe 20 miles across. And see this guy come out on the bridge wing, what was left of it, with a Prick 90. And he calls us up. It's a CO. He says, we lost power.
No.
The storm ran over us. We got power back. I'm going wherever this fucking Typhoon goes.
Just going to follow the hurricane.
Apparently, they did not have any major injuries. They did have injured people on the ship. But they went all the way up almost to Yokosuka, Japan, before it finally dissipated enough they could get out of it. But I got back and I had bruises across both shoulders, across my lap, and across the tops of my thighs and the bottom of my thighs
Call those raspberries.
from beating on the bottoms of the trays in the airplane. Sir Brass, that was all CGI. If you want to see the real, what really happens on landing in on a carrier in a storm, there are videos out there of, I want to say, the Nimitz, and there is another shot of the Kitty Hawk in Westpac back about 13, 14 years ago now. They had a 60 Bravo that did an emergency landing on the forward part of the deck because of the weather. And they did not try to put it in the hangar deck. They just chained it down where it was. And the Kitty Hawk took blue water over the flight deck, which was 78 feet in the air.
You see, that's the great thing about being in the Army. You never take 78-foot waves over anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a version of CGI in the 80s. There was this little company called Lucas.
LucasArts, Skywalker Ranch. Was
Skywalker Ranch.
Where they actually did all their.
Yeah, DA. Forrestal lost a F4, a tow tractor, and an entire wing walker crew off of a hangar deck, hangar elevator down in the Bermuda Triangle back in the 70s.
So James says, Ian, they do occasionally jump out of perfectly good airplanes. I will have you know, sir, that those airplanes are maintained by fairly well-functioning 18-year-old alcoholics.
Yeah.
There's nothing perfectly good about them. And considering I've had to look up, especially on a shit hook, and watched it bleed hydraulic fluid down the bulkhead.
That just means it had hydraulic fluid.
That's what the jump master or the cargo dude told me, and I was never so happy to get out of a perfectly good airplane in my life. Alley-oop. No. If you've got something built by the lowest bidder and maintained by high-functioning 18-year-old alcoholics, it ain't perfectly good.
Oh. I would have hated to see you on the flight deck of a carrier.
And you didn't have to, because I was smart and went somewhere where I wasn't going to drown because it was Tuesday and I could walk home when my shit broke.
Yeah, Jerry. Kevin Miller's books are pretty much on point.
With parachutes folded by weed addicted 18-year-old kids. Yes, but those kids occasionally have to take one of those things they folded and jump with it. So it kind of gives you the impetus to do it right. But
Yeah,
did you die? I'm here.
that's the point. Yeah. Well, I always like throwing them out of the airplane myself.
That's the thing. Nobody ever had to throw me out of an aircraft. And
Yeah.
they never did. I mean, should have. These days, when I'm less testosterone encephalopathy, you'd probably have to throw me out of a plane. But back
Yeah.
then, you didn't have to throw me out. That's the weirdest thing. That's the weirdest thing. I can stand in the door of a C-130 doing PWACs and just happy as a clam at high tide. Oh, look. Hey, it's all
Yeah.
great. If I get on, or I can sit in the door of a 60 Blackhawk trying to figure out where the hell we're going next. Not a problem in the world. I get on a building or on a cliff, look on the side, I get, I can't do it.
Yeah, Larry's approach was a little different. They rigged their own chutes, so they had no choice but to jump it.
Okay.
What's
PWACs? Personal work in aircraft.
Yeah.
That's the guy that checks to make sure that the folks jumping aren't going to have issues coming out of the aircraft. You make sure everything's locked in place. There's nothing sharp on the around the door and all that good stuff.
Yeah, they don't want you to cut your
Anything.
didn't want you to cut your static line,
Cut anything.
which has happened.
Personal. I think it's personal work in aircraft. It's a long time ago. Don't get me. And my think pudding isn't as good as it used to be.
So anyway, all those pretty waterspouts can kill your ass.
Oh yeah.
And will, given a chance.
I said the entire fleet of the Knights of Malta,
Yeah.
one in the harbor of Leto, just
Yeah.
crushed them all.
There was an interesting interview, and part of that is Isotrace is just downwind of Mount Etna, just off the coast. The water there is fairly shallow, and I ran some testing out of there in 2010, so I'm fairly familiar with the area. But the winds coming off Etna get what the Italians call the twisties, and depending on where you are located, those twisties can get real friggin' interesting,
I'll bet.
because you can have it dead calm in the harbor and be out 2 miles and be in a sea state 3, which is 5 to 7 foot waves.
But I would like to go on record saying there ain't no such thing as perfect good aircraft. They were built by the lowest bidder and maintained by high functioning alcoholics.
And you think our airplanes weren't?
Exactly. There's no such thing as a perfectly good military aircraft.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Ringo said if it wasn't perfectly good, it was Air Force. Yeah, point.
Not making me want to get an airplane off.
Hey, Tiffany, it's the mechanics for the airlines are usually better paid and a little older and a little more knowledgeable than us average
And outside
Navy
of
kids.
Boeing, which I might add is a government contractor for military aircraft, outside of Boeing, most of the companies that build aircraft do a fairly decent job of it.
Yeah, well,
For civilian stuff,
they all have their problems.
they can get sued.
They all have their problems. I will fly on Boeing before I fly on Airbus. Airbus scares the shit out of me.
I don't know if they're
Anytime
been
the
on
computer
Airbus.
has more control of the airplane than the pilot does.
Yeah, that's becoming a nasty habit. I'm not real happy
Yeah.
with. Boeing commercial is very different. Boeing. Yeah, Boeing.
I was flying 150 to 200,000 miles a year for way too friggin' many years.
Boeing, it will hold together all the way to the scene of the crash.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Well, that's pretty much any of them, depending. And if it's an Airbus, it'll even fly you to the scene of the crash on purpose.
Yeah, but like Tom says, Boeing has the convertible option.
Yeah. But it made it back and landed, didn't it?
Whoo! Yeah, there's that.
An Airbus would not have done that.
Eh,
If you want to have some real fun, if you're on an Airbus and getting turbulence, walk to the back of the airplane, turn around and look forward. You can watch the whole airplane doing this. Fuselage twist on an Airbus.
And Rita gets mad at me. She does. She doesn't. She says she doesn't. She does. When I get on it, when we get on the aircraft, I put my hat over my eyes and go to sleep. It's just, it's habit. I just,
Yeah.
The wheels are up, like the eyelids are down, and she gets so mad at me because she loves going places, but she's not that fond of flying. I will. Flying into Salt Lake to go to LTUE those couple of years, and I would wake up. We would leave DFW, and I would be asleep before we got to cruising altitude. We'd land at Salt Lake City, and I'd have these little oval bruises on my bicep where she. And like, did you have to snore? What, baby?
Yeah, hillbilly F-15s, whatever. You just loaned them to the pilots.
I don't do it so much on boats like Nancy does, but on aircraft, it's habit. It's ingrained habit.
No, you cannot carry a parachute on an aircraft. Trust me. Ever since DB Cooper,
Well,
that shit stopped.
okay.
It's also why the DC-9's aft door will no longer open,
Really?
except on certain airplanes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No, it's ingrained habit. It's there for a long time. If I was flying anywhere, after I touched down, I probably wouldn't be getting a lot of sleep. So it's just ingrained habit that if I'm on an airplane, might as well stock up on sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Rita, for such a tiny thing, is a hell of a grip. Like I say, she would put bruises on my biceps. She's like,
Yeah. In other news, sad news, Makaido
oh yes.
and RK are not on here today because Makaido's cancer has come back
It's fine.
and it's in his spine. So please take a moment and say a prayer for them. They're going to need help.
Every bit of it. What about Grok? Grok?
The AI,
Somebody's going to have to refresh my think pudding because
that you were going to read the Grok responses after it created Racontour Press for you.
I don't have a blue check. I can't use Grok apparently.
Ah.
Jonna has a blue check. She can. I'm not giving a social media Grok AI thing about the press. I can't do Grok. I don't have the premium or the blue check. So I tried, can't do it.
U.S. Doha. Oh, God, that hurts. That's 14 and a half hours.
Seat's too uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's comfort for sleeping has never been a thing.
Yeah.
Grok AI thing about the press, huh?
Best place to sleep on the P3 was curled up under the sensor stations
Do you know
because of the floor heaters.
Do you know how many duffel bags loaded to a TA-60 gear, TA-50 gear I've slept on? With a helmet right there and the small amount. Of course, I was a hell of a lot younger back then.
Yeah.
I had a K-pot right in my lumbar region and sleep for 18 hours.
Sanford's outside taking a phone call.
Didn't I post about it? I don't know. Did I?
Ian is having one of those days today.
I am sleep deprived. Even though I slept late today, I'm still sleep deprived. Let's see here. Oh, you talking about the one Johnny got? Is that what? Oh, Sanford. John Sanford, not our Sanford.
Okay, never mind. Wrong Sanford.
Oh,
Okay, you got me confused now.
no, John Sanford. Apparently, Mr. Sanford, he is wrapped around the axle about pedophilia.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy, is he wrapped around the axle
Yeah.
about pedophilia. And speaking as somebody who actually capers is crimes against persons. When I was in the Panhandle, I was part of I investigated sexual abuse. Probably a great deal of, or a large part of my PTSD, because when you're dealing with child molesters, you don't want to get the victim, the child, up on the witness stand. That's
Don't want to make them relive it.
you don't want to make them relive it, and you don't want to do it, period. So the way to interrogate a child molester is to make the child molester believe that it's excusable. What you do is generally you start out saying something along the lines of, with kids these days, you can understand how somebody might have a mistaken impression. And then you establish a rapport with the chomo, and you get them, you start expressing sympathy, and they'll generally talk to you. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And you can usually get a pretty good confession from a child molester, especially if once they're done and they're at the crying stage, you pat them on the shoulder, you tell them, why don't you write a letter to the judge explaining what you did and how you're sorry about it, and that you would be quite happy to make sure the judge got it. And you'd be surprised how many of them will do that. And that way you show that to the defense attorney, and they take a plea. And the child doesn't have to get on the witness stand and be torn apart by the public defender. So that's the long way around of saying I've got a little bit of a experience with this sort of thing. And Mr. Sanford's unhealthy obsession with pedophilia, I suspect he's either a victim of it or he's one. He's a chomo. And he's using outrage to cover his predatory activities. Anyway, this numbnut showed up on our Substack. And everybody knows that my thing at Reactor Press is it must be entertaining, all else is negotiable. Well, Numbnuts decided, Mr. John Numbnut Sanford decided that everything else included child molestation. And he challenged us or challenged me to make a public statement. Well, I don't think a public statement is necessary. I don't find that sort of thing entertaining, and I don't think our readership are going to find it entertaining. So it doesn't. No. And it's like, well, if a known pedophile turns in a story, dude, the only known pedophile I know of is Samuel R. Delaney, that in the writing field, and he's not going to submit to us. And unlike him, I don't have a subscription to Chomo Gazette. I don't know who all is a Chomo and who isn't. If somebody's a Chomo and they send us a story and we publish it, and then somebody says, hey, that guy's a molester, here's the court documents. Yeah, I'll yank him. I'll yank him in a heartbeat. But I'm not going to. We've got over almost damn near 200 authors right now. I can't run background checks on everybody. So it's like, no. And Jonna and Cedar are like, no, we're not dealing with this guy. So after the response, we just kicked him off Substack. Well, Larry Correa, God bless him, the happy warrior, the mountain who writes, did a thing on Facebook about Mike Cole. And I think we discussed Mike Cole last week.
Yeah.
And about, he was, it's amazing how many of these feminists turned out to be serial abusers. aggressors, sexual harassers. And Mr. Sanford decides to pop up, tagged me, decided to pop up and say, unless they're a popular child, unless they're a child molester who's popular, right, Law Dog? You should not have done that.
Yeah.
Should not have ought to done that. So then he doubled down on the stupid. He just flat doubled down on the stupid. And I hope everybody realizes that there's a laundry list of stuff I won't publish. But I'm not going to do a prescription drug ad with a little voice for 15 minutes afterwards. Oh, entertaining except for child molesters, terrorists, Democrat. I'm not going to do that. It's just, and as a general man of the human species, subset American, I kind of thought it went without saying that child molesting is not, don't send it.
Yeah.
Just don't fucking send it. I didn't think that needed to be said.
Well, sometimes chomos are fun. Remember when the one got put in the tank in the Jib Pop tank?
With the uncle of the victim?
Yeah.
That was briefly fun.
Yeah. That was an entertaining video to watch after the fact.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Woo!
You all were sitting there because I looked at the cameras from the watch room, and you all were sitting there looking up going, the fuck? Did they? No, they did. Oh, shit. Get out there.
Holy shit. They're fixing to pull him apart.
They were trying.
Yeah, I noped out. Like I said, this guy is Mr. John Sanford is either a victim, in which case he has my complete and total sympathy and pity. However, my sympathy and pity does not mean I'm his punching bag. I'm not. He needs to find therapy, and it ain't me. Or he's a molester using outrage to cover his like the people Larry was talking about that use feminism as a cover for being serial gropers.
Yeah. Yeah, we've run across one or two of those.
Yeah, and I would think by now there's been a couple instances that people realize that if you've got an issue with a sexual harasser at a con, you can find me or Jim, and we'll
get it handled.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no problems going to the people in charge.
You're head straight to con security.
Yeah.
I had no issues. And there's been a couple. And we've run somebody off this channel.
Yeah.
Who was a serial groper.
Yeah.
Showed up. Boy, I think that's when we were still doing Facebook live stream, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He got pissed because I called him out.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize he was in the comments. He got pissed because I called him out.
Yeah.
And no, you're a serial abuser and you're out.
Yep.
He got banned from at least one con.
Yeah. Oh, he's banned from 2, 3 that I know of.
Yeah, just off of.
Now, Tom, the disassembly didn't happen because once the rest of the guys in the tank figured out what was going on, they all tried to pile on. And nobody could get to the guy to disassemble him because there were too many bodies on
in the way. Well, and also in county jail, a lot of your hard long-term cons, they consider it kindergarten. It was jail for somebody institutionalized is easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
And they don't want to pick up grief by killing somebody. So when that guy figured out there was a institutionalized guy holding him back because he didn't want to rake a pepper spray the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Holding him back, and 3 others hitting the button. And then the other half of the tank was on the chomo, but mostly to protect him, I think.
I don't know. I still don't know.
There were a couple of liver shots at the bottom of that pile.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he got his coin purse crunched pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't that be the first step?
Well, in prison, they don't get saved. In prison, it gets
They're gone.
they're
dead.
gone. In jail, it's a little different environment, but we got down there with a quickness. We
Yeah.
really did.
I've never seen you move that fast.
Woo!
You were the last one out the door. You were leading the pack when you got to the tank.
I didn't want to write the paper. I didn't want to do the paperwork. Some guy gets disassembled in 8-4. I don't want to do the paperwork. 3 weeks of paperwork right there.
At least.
Not to mention the fact, all the questions about, well, why didn't you stop it?
I did friggin' week's worth of paperwork on that son of a bitch after the fact.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we had another week trying to figure out how the hell he wound up in a tank, because he was on, when certain charges get you a ADSEG list, and this is a list of people and it's supposed to be cross-referenced to the computer. So if you get moved to a tank with anybody that list of names, and it's victim's family, anybody that you think is supposed to light up red, you can't go in there. And somehow he went in there anyway.
Supposed to be administrative segregation.
Well, you can't add second right off the bat. And
Yeah.
what pisses me off is we used to have the Chomo tank.
Yeah.
And Chomo tank was where we put everybody that was, because solitary is violation of civil rights, so you can't stick them in solitary. The number of people that we had that put themselves in solitary, it's we used to get yelled at. We had 30 solitary cells, and they were full all the time. They were full all the damn time. And we used to get yelled at by Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. You're using solitary too much. And I'd send them a list of everybody in solitary while they were there. And it was every one of them, except for a couple, was they wanted to go there.
Yeah.
It was quiet. It had a shower that they didn't have to that they didn't have to share with anybody. And it's quiet.
And they didn't have to go in the Chomo tank.
And
Yeah.
so you can't put them straight into ADSEG. So we had a 24-man tank that was Chomos and everybody else who was a problem. There would be a problem in Gen Pop.
Yeah.
And we tried to keep it quiet which one was the Chomo tank.
And that lasted about 5 seconds. to
No
tell you.
kidding, right? No kidding. And it used to be fun. I'd get some real ass weasels. And I'd tell them, if you don't knock that shit off, whichever tank was Chomo tank, I'll stick you in 8.3 or 8.5. I'll stick you in 8.5. Because everybody knows that if you're seen going in there, you're obviously a Chomo. So you could, some of the young cons, you could get them to straighten up a fly right by threatening to throw them in a Chomo tank.
And the trustees
Oh.
who basically wandered the jail doing work, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
would go by and count noses every day.
They would. You watch them do it.
And they would, and they would go back and they would tell everybody on the other tanks if there was a new addition.
Yep. I couldn't tell who they wouldn't necessarily know who it was, but when you got 12 bunks, the trustee on the night going through, he would just look up and he'd count how many empty bunks.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's 22 in whichever tank, so obviously there's a new one in there. Trustee is an inmate worker. That's the old, because we're both old school. Trustee is the name for an inmate worker. Somebody who has duty working around, an inmate who has duty working around the facility helping out.
Yeah, Raptor, we just had a trial here of a preacher for the same thing.
Woo! And we've got that one guy, that one preacher. We've had two in the last couple of years. That one preacher is demanding a retrial.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the hell he's getting it, because idiot got up on the stand.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever testified your own defense.
Yeah.
Especially if you're guilty.
Just don't. If people don't understand that, if once you get up there, the prosecutor, there's certain things he can't get into. In the guilt or innocence phase, he can't talk about your past issues.
Yeah.
legal issues. He can't talk about past trials. He can't talk about past pleas or convictions or run-ins with the law, unless you get on the stand. Then he can talk about your past brushes with the law, your past jail, everything.
Yeah, there are a lot of places that use trustees on work release programs.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them.
Not anymore.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, Wichita County still does.
Yeah, Shep's work crew was out on.
But a lot of places that was the go-to for public service stuff for years.
The
Chain gangs were the old school
Uh-huh.
version of that.
Well, I think we got two, or not we anymore. Wichita County has two outside work crews, I think.
Yeah.
One that works inside county buildings, and one that actually goes out and does work for basically nonprofits. They're the ones that clean the cemeteries, and bless their little hearts. They're the ones that go out and clean all the headstones.
Yeah.
And they'll go out there, and they're not getting a lot. They're getting, I think, 3 for 1 time,
Yeah.
and extra money chits for commissary. Basically, I think what we were paid.
Yeah.
I didn't handle trustees, but I think it was extra chits for commissary and 3 for 1 time. And bless their hearts, they would get out there, and the outside crew, you don't put the bad guys in the outside crew. A whole bunch of minimum security guys, and when they hit the cemeteries, they clean. They do a damn fine job. I gotta give them props for that.
Well, they're outside.
Yeah.
That's the one thing they all want,
They're outside in the fresh air.
because jails stink.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, the only difference between a jail and a ship is the ship has an added eau de diesel, but jails and ships stink. Yeah.
And it's-
Even those fancy yachts.
Not to say they're smart. The loudest I've heard this man laugh, he was watching video. And Texas is one of the few states that has a state level commission that ensures that county lockups meet a certain minimum standards. It's called the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. They put up a whole bunch of minimum standards. Your jails must meet this. For instance, they can be no colder than 65 and no hotter than 85. They've got minimum standards, and they're not a lot, but it's basically there's some minimum standards your jail has to meet. To make sure you're doing this, once a year they send out inspectors. They go through and they inspect your jail to make sure you're meeting minimum standards, right? So, hardest I've heard this man laugh ever. We had our jail inspector, and she was a salty little thing. Holy crap, she was a salty little thing. And she walked into the trustee tank and walks to the trustee tank, asks questions, checks the water, checks the temperature, checks the air, walks out, and she's walking around the corner. And one of the trustees sets off. He's making tattoo ink. After she left, he jumped in the shower to make tattoo ink and screwed up. And there was a fireball came out of the shower. And the trustees yelped. And she whipped around, went running back just in time to watch that fireball roll down the middle of the aisle between the bunks. And she lost her shit. Oh, she lost her shit. She was in there. I did not realize until that time that prior to being a jail inspector, that young lady had been the jail administrator for Texas jail. She walked in there and told the trustees how the cow ate the cabbage. She had them locked up and was cussing them up one side and down the other.
I learned a few words from her that day.
She
Oh,
walked
my
back
God.
there and snatched that tattoo candle out of there and was shaking it at the trustees and just, whoo, she was mad. So I said, Miss Jackie, we've got the rest of the jail. It's like, shut up, I'm working. Okay. Are you fucking stupid? I'm the jail inspector.
Yes.
How fucking stupid do you after me? I realize you're trustees, you ain't bright, but goddamn. So, wow. I'm going to go get a coffee while she's.
Yes, Kermit, ships do have saltwater washdowns for decontamination. They do get used on quite a bit. And then at some point, you got to come back in and wash it with fresh water, which is even more fun.
So be extra trustee. She snatched that trustee out of there.
Yeah.
Walked him. She had him by the collar, which we didn't do. I didn't know you were allowed to do that. But apparently, according to the jail inspector, you can. I had him by the collar. I was dragging him to solitary. It's like, you know, you're not one of our.
Yeah.
Shut up. She's frog marching in solitary. It's like, wow.
AJ, that would be the equivalent of being on a diesel sub for 11 days. When you have one distilling plant down, so no laundry, no showers. Yeah. Yes, Kermit, I learned from some new words from Jackie.
Jackie, she'd been a jail captain, jail administrator in a border county. And she was fluent in swearing in English, Spanish, and Tex-Mex.
And a couple of others.
And oh, howdy, she went to town.
Yeah.
And I said she grabbed him by the collar and marched him down his head to the solitary. It's like, I'm on the radio. I need a solitary cell. I need a solitary cell. Oh, she was mad.
So
She was
were you ready
pissed.
to pull somebody out of solitary to shove this guy in?
I think, thank God, we had an empty one because we needed one so that she could inspect it. And
She expected that she threw his
she
ass in.
expected that she launched him in there. Oh, she was pissed. Oh, she was pissed. It was sheer luck that the fireball, it was a hell of a fireball. I don't know what that boy was doing. It was a hell of a fireball.
Yeah.
It was just pure damn luck that it didn't set off the sprinkler system. And boy, she'd been pissed then. Oh, she'd been pissed.
He was no longer a trustee after that.
He got snatched. And after the sheriff calmed down because he was sure. I don't know if Jim called him or somebody else. He was sure that that trustee stunt was to get the jail failed. And if you fail jail inspection, it's not a good thing. And he was just sure that shit was to get us failed. And once he calmed down, it took him about a year. Once he calmed down, that the kid was eligible to be trustee again. But she walked after she threw the soldier. She walked back, and I was gonna have some of the kids bundle up his shit, and she threw his mattress out in the hall, and she was at his bunk, which is halfway down and she was throwing his stuff at the hall from his bunk. All the other trustees were like, Kermit, El Paso County, I can neither confirm nor deny. She did. She was just, all of his stuff was, as she goes through, that's contraband. And hey, you keep that. That's contraband. It's like, ma'am, we've only got a day to do this.
Yeah, it differs. Y'all have your chairs and pillows and your maid service and your butler service in the Air Force.
El Paso County is one of the few counties. I'm a big fan of El Paso County. It's one of the few counties got open air solitary, or not solitary, open air Sallyport. Sallyport's where you drive in.
Yeah.
The open secure door, you drive in, the close to your door, that's where you unload your inmate or your prisoner. El Paso County has an open air Sallyport, which freaked me out. It really did freak me out. And then I realized it never rains there.
Yeah. Yeah, jails in other parts of the world, however, are a little different.
Oh, no kidding.
Why is
Try
there
to stay out of them?
Oh, yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, Padre. Yeah, the Army would put up a tent in the hotel room, yes.
Damn fine Pepsi right here.
I neither confirm or deny.
Damn fine Pepsi. Oh, she was a sweetheart. She was tough, but I liked her. She got hired by somebody else. She was a jail inspector for a good long time, and got headhunted by a fairly large county. Bless her heart. I miss her. She was good.
Hopefully not Harris.
Oh no, Oh no, she had to inspect Harrison.
Yeah.
That was a
Well,
5-day, 3 of them, 5 days, and she said she tried to fail it every time she was down there.
well, she wouldn't touch Travis. She wouldn't
Mm.
touch Harris.
Travis County. Holy crap! First, I went to Travis County. There's there's an officer in the Northwest called something. His last name's Orcutt.
Harris is Houston.
Houston. Orcutt. I don't know what his first name is, but he's officer. I think he's still a working officer out in the Northwest somewhere. And he decided that what cops needed to carry were nunchucks. So he designed the Orcutt Police Nunchuck. Got their polycarbonate with, and he managed to talk a few people into buying this thing.
How many officers did it injure?
So the Orcutt, the OPN, I think he's on the OPN 2 now, the Orcutt Police Nunchuck 2. Travis County bought into this. And the first time I went to Travis County, I saw guys walking around with nunchucks hanging off their belts. It's like, the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Then I started researching it. And the premise is decent. It's not got a bad premise. However, and I've talked to some Travis County guys on and off. And the thing is to keep up the level of proficiency. And you're not using it to hit people. You're using it for control grips.
Yeah.
To keep up a decent level of proficiency, they were having to run their guys through training damn near every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It was got too expensive. They were good, but too expensive to maintain. Because if you do the standard year or 2 years that most cops do for between proficiencies, people get away from the gripping and go back to hitting people with them.
Where is Travis County?
Austin, Texas.
And Dallas is
Dallas County.
Dallas County, yeah.
Dallas County. Travis County is actually the last time I was there, they were moving to whatever the U.S. Air Force base there used to be. Carswell. They took over Carswell.
No,
So-
wait a minute. They couldn't have taken over Carswell because it's still reserve base.
There's one of the bases down there they took over.
They must have taken over the old Navy base.
Could be some military base.
A Navy
So-
base in Austin?
Naval Air Station.
Okay.
Dallas has got one too. Or Fort
Oh,
Worth.
you're talking about in
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
They took over Bergstrom.
Bergstrom. Okay. And so it's an old military base. So instead of a jail, it's a whole bunch of jails on a campus. And I hate that. I hated going to Travis County.
Yeah, the somebody tried to shoot at the MPs in San Antonio.
Apparently, multiple folks try to shoot at the MPs.
Multiple folks tried to shoot at them. The MP shot back, didn't kill a single one of them.
Well,
Friggin' Air Force needs to go back for training.
No kidding.
there are certain services you do not expect any proficiency with small arms.
This is true.
I don't want to be around Air Force people shooting because they can't tell who's on their own side.
Yeah.
The Navy is the same way.
Hey, now,
If you want someone who's proficient with small arms, you go either Marine Corps or Army.
The thing about sticks is one of the many terrible things that happened to law enforcement in the last 20 years is state level risk management agencies.
Yeah.
And so they don't do sticks because risk management gets the vapors. Y'all do realize that the ASP expandable batons are designed to fail, right?
Yeah.
Literally. The ASP expandable baton is designed to fail at a point just shy of being able to break long bones. So you can't break anything except small bones in the
Fingers.
phalanges. You can't break anything with an asp because it will fail. It will bend and split, and one end will fly off and stab Grandma Fricker. But we won't get into that.
War Hamster is absolutely friggin' hilarious.
We love War Hamster. We love War Hamster. She's a sweetheart. She's funny. But anyway, they don't do sticks because things might break. The reason that we don't do slapjacks and blackjacks anymore is because they can hurt.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, you can't hold somebody down anymore because he might die of drugs and be.
No kidding. No kidding. I love, for police work, slapjacks are great. I love slapjacks with proper training. It used to be, back when it was still TCLOS instead of TCOL, the Texas Commission of Law Enforcement Officer Standards Education, TCLOS, had an 8-hour flexible weapons course. And it was basically how to use a blackjack. It's a great course, fantastic course. And the risk management got a hold of it.
The old 511 pants used to have a pocket for a slapjack.
Oh, yeah.
On the right
Everybody
leg.
did. Everybody did. The that so-called flashlight pocket on the seam of police uniforms. It's not a flashlight pocket. That's for your sap. Love saps. Saps are used properly in the proper hands. Slaps don't. They have a lower. Used properly in the proper hands, they have a lower chance of serious bodily injury than just about anything else. The asps, granted, they don't. What happens is the slip joint between the end segment and the middle segment splits, and the end segment flies out. Well, when it splits, that the end of that middle segment becomes sharp.
Got a dagger.
Not just a dagger, but when you're beating somebody with it, it's long lacerations. Hello lacerations. And it doesn't, I mean,
If I beat somebody with a dagger, they get long lacerations.
I just, the proper use of I miss truncheons, the short nightsticks. That was part of the flexible impact weapon, was truncheons and blackjacks. Both of them are great.
They had, when I went through shore patrol training many moons ago, they taught us shotguns and they taught us the old hickory nightsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up going as an officer, as a shore patrol officer. And they gave me one of them fucking things with a goddamn handle on it.
Oh, the PR-24s?
PR-24. I could not figure out what the hell to do with that son of a bitch. Couldn't get the damn handle off of it.
Well, it's real easy. You hit them around the back of the neck and then yank while holding the fat end.
I don't
But
like,
I was taught never to hit above the shoulders.
well, on
And
the
the preference would be to hit forearms, thighs, and lower legs.
if I remember
And if
right,
you couldn't get them down any other way, hit the son of a bitch in the knees.
My training was not for law enforcement.
Yeah.
So above the shoulders was preferred.
Yeah, well, yeah.
now, granted, my flexible impact weapon training was in 1993, a long time ago. If I remember right, the green zone on the ASP was outboard of the shoulder blade and the big muscle in the upper arm and the outside of the thighs. The yellow zone was collarbone, inside of the thighs, forearms, and lower legs. Red zone was head, neck, spine, kidneys, and testicles. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Thigh hits hurt. Thigh hits done right will drop you with a quickness. Yeah, if you've got a good 14-ounce sap or truncheon, and you smack somebody 4 fingers above the knee on the outside of the thigh, and you get that nerve, they will drop like a sack of taters. It is beautiful.
Which type of stick is it? It's about 3 to 4 inches long and about 1.5 inches in diameter.
Oh, pocket sticks,
Yeah. pocket
also
sticks.
called Urawas or capo sticks. I
No,
love those
yeah.
things.
Not 3 to 4 feet long.
Oh, baton.
Yeah, that's the old style shore patrol batons.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
You can butt stroke and bayonet with those.
Oh yeah, hickory. They had a handle. They had a tie wrap that was leather. You wrapped around your wrist.
The thing behind the green, yellow, and red target zones was each color corresponded to a level on the threat ladder.
Yeah.
Resistance, plain resistance was the green zones. Active, aggressive resistance, unarmed, you go to yellow. And then if they're armed, you go to red.
Yeah, Jeffers, you were on an Air Force base with a red line. So, yes, you got to play with the toys. Yeah, Air Force. Red lines. Yeah, no comment.
There's a what they used to call a San Antonio slap, and the San Antonio slap, you're holding a slapper, slapjack, like this, and you're talking to them. And San Antonio slap is a simple straight out and back, just and a flick at the end. And we had
You hit them right here.
right there, or I had slapjack out, and I was talking to a guy who was stupid. He was EDP, emotionally disturbed person. He was flat stupid, and I was talking to him, trying to calm him down. I had it out, and all of a sudden he came with a knife. I have no idea where the hell he came up with that knife. I didn't see it until he had it in his hand. I went straight out. I hit his knuckles, and then came back, and I loaded for a shot at his collarbone, and he sat down and started crying. And he wouldn't let go of the knife. And when the fire department got there, it's because he couldn't.
You locked him.
I hit.
Yeah.
When he came up with that knife, pow, and I hit right there.
Yeah,
And
you locked his hand.
all four of those fingers had dislocated, locked in on the knife.
Knives are scary, yes. You're either going to die or go to the hospital
Huh.
because you're not going to not get cut in a knife fight. I don't care what the fucking movies say.
Well,
Yes, you can not get cut in a knife fight. If you bring a gun to a knife fight, you can avoid getting cut if you've got enough range.
Yeah, if
The,
you've got enough range. I mean, the Tooler drill's a real thing.
Yes,
the,
that's why I mentioned enough range.
what we were told in the academy, and is I used to think was a little bit of exaggeration. Grew up in a knife culture. Used to think it's a bit of exaggeration. It's not.
Yeah.
That when you get to a knife fight, what the responding officer does is put the winner in the ambulance and the loser in the hearse.
Yeah, they had, there was one a couple of months ago I ran across, or somebody sent me. Guy with a knife versus a guy with a machete down in Florida.
Woo! That's a lot of blood.
Guy with a machete won,
Oh, you think?
took the guy's arm off,
Oh, yeah.
and basically did the twirl and turned around and walked off.
And here in Texas, saps are legal to carry. Get some training if you're going to carry it here in Texas. Get some training. And quite honestly, people ask, well, is the sap any good? Yes, especially if it's adjunct to pepper spray. These days, every long-term inmate with sheriff's offices and prisons are handing out pepper spray like Christmas candy, Halloween candy, and every inmate has been exposed to pepper spray. And if they're bad enough to be idiots, have been exposed multiple times, right, Jim?
Yeah.
So you're carrying pepper spray, which you probably should. If you get a long-term idiot and you dose him real good, he's liable to fight through it.
Yeah.
He's liable to have had to have fought through it. So pepper spray is not always. Spicy treats are great. If I have to unship.
Same with a taser.
Yeah, well, I would rather pepper spray.
Yeah.
If you have to unship your pepper spray to pepper, you think you might have to deliver spicy treats to an idiot, get out your sap and hold it behind your leg. If you spray the idiot and he blinks and comes at you, a quick shot with the sap and he'll change his mind.
Provided you hit.
Oh, well, that's a great thing with a sap is they're close enough to use a sap you can't miss.
You'll get some body part.
Okay, when I say provided you get a hit that will bother that particular idiot.
If you've got a decent sap, a hit anywhere will bother that idiot. Yeah, especially in the forearms, because the sap will break a bone in the forearm with quickness.
I broke the eggs on a guy one time. It pissed him off.
That's not the fight stopper that people think it is. If you think about getting somebody the coin purse, if he's nutty enough, he lives on the pain. Now, if you're breaking something with sap, you break the structure, they can't do anything. It doesn't matter how pain resistant or nutty they are. If the structure isn't there, they can't.
Well, it's like the nerve down the outside of the legs.
If you break a lower leg or the lower arm or the hip joint, they can't get they're not going. I mean, if the structure isn't there, they can't use it to.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons with everybody, all the bad guys now having
Body armor.
vest and body armor. Everybody's going to the pelvic girdle or the neck up for shots. Because you put a couple of rounds on pelvic girdle, they're not going to be running after you.
You break the pelvis, and they're not coming after you.
Yeah.
Assuming you can break the pelvis.
Yeah, we've wasted another hour of your time, and boy, we've been.
We went all over the map today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you talk about Kelly's new shirt?
Yes.
if you're not friends with Kelly Grayson on Facebook, you should probably be friends with Kelly Grayson on Facebook because he has a Hawaiian shirt, and that's all I'm saying on that matter. Also, we have 40 people watching, and only 23 of them like us.
Yeah.
Why are you watching if you don't like us?
Most people don't like us.
Yeah, point.
I
They
think.
know you.
I guess 17 of them must be John Sanford and sock puppets.
A lot of arteries and pelvic girdle too.
And
Yes.
that is a special shirt, isn't it though? And that's all I'm going to say. Y'all need to go look at Kelly's shirt. He'll be at Pecan wearing that shirt, as a matter of fact.
And if you would keep RK and Makaido in your prayers.
Yes,
thoughts.
I want to pass a law outlawing the last name Sanford. This is the second one. There was some writer for some Ohio news network or something like that a couple of years ago that was equally reprehensible and attacked, I think, Tony
Weiskopf?
Weiskopf.
Really?
Uh,
Jerk.
And my problem with it was people kept yelling about Sanford, and I'm going, no, I didn't do anything.
Wrong Sanford. Wrong Sanford.
All right, folks.
Y'all be safe.
Y'all be safe. Remember, don't sweat the petty
And I
stuff.
don't know why you come here because we bounce all over the place.
Don't pet the sweaty stuff. That.
It's an excuse to eat a bag of popcorn.
Yeah.
Jason Sanford or John Sanford? I forget.
One of
I
them.
don't care. I don't care. I don't care enough to.
Remember, there was one of those as an author.
Yeah.
A good author.
Anyway, we're out of here. Bye.
Be safe.
There's a John Sanford that